The Stars and Stripes show is brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.
Well, it's Gabs FM Power to engage your world. The World Telecommunications and Information Society has become increasingly important in today's interconnected world. It plays a critical role in driving economic growth, enhancing social development, and facilitating the exchange of knowledge and ideas. And of course, this is so important. Economic growth through telecommunications and information society are critical to driving economic growth. They provide the infrastructure that enables businesses to connect with customers, suppliers, partners across the world. We do know that there's the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and this is how, of course, telecommunications plays its role. Social development, telecommunications and information society have the power to transform societies by improving access to education, healthcare, and other essential services. And of course, in the building for the Meet America policy discussion, we have Mr. Alan DeWitt, who is U.S. Embassy Information Manager Specialist. Right? How are you, Alan?
I'm good. Thanks, Swift.
Fantastic, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. And we've got my big brother, David Mweping, of course, cybercrime. You can't do the topic on cybercrime without this man, right?
The veteran in cybercrime.
And he also is a U.S. Embassy alumni.
Yes.
What program did you do?
The Edward Murrow Fellowship Program,
Nice.
IVLP, in 2011. Had a great time.
Yes. And you know there's a difference between YALI and IVLP. You know that, right? IVLP, you got to be headhunted. You don't apply.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't go and write.
You have to qualify for
and use Chat GPT to you qualify, so that is a big one. Okay, of course, ladies and gentlemen, look, Alan, let me start with you, and of course this is very, very important. Let's start by what you do and your mandate at the U.S. Embassy.
So I'm one of the American IT managers.
Oh, nice.
So we have a couple of different networks that we manage. We do that with the help of many Botswana colleagues.
Yes.
So I specifically work on, for some strange reason that no one's been able to explain to us, the IT people also run the mail.
What?
And so we run the diplomatic pouch operation as well.
Okay.
So I do that. I run the classified network. I run the radio program, the telephones, and the mailroom. And then I have a colleague who's my boss. He runs like the unclassified network and all the mobile devices and laptops and things.
Yes.
So we are sort of jack of all trades when it comes to IT.
Yes. Every time I go to the U.S. Embassy, the main one, I have to leave my phone at the security gate.
We take
Is that
embassy
also
security.
in line with what you do and ensuring that the embassy is secure?
Yeah, one of my duties, official duties, is Information Systems Security Officer. So I'm also looking at any incidents that happen on the network. We have people in Washington monitoring all of our network. We run a wide area network all over the world. There's like almost 300 embassies and consulates. So sometimes I'll get a notification that, hey, something happened here. Somebody plugged in something they weren't supposed to. And then I have to investigate, go talk to that person, educate them about why we can't do things.
Yeah.
So yes, security is part of everything we do.
I'd probably get in trouble for downloads and uTorrents and things like that.
You can't do any of that.
So I can't work for the U.S. government or the embassy.
Do that at home. I can't police you at home, but at work.
Okay, let's talk about what is World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. And of course, why is it worth commemorating it in the 21st century today?
Well, I'll be honest, I had to look this one up. So as I understand it, World Telecommunications Day commemorates the founding of the International Telecommunications Union in 1865. And so in 1973, they made it a holiday, just trying to highlight the work. The ITU is essentially a governance and a standards body.
Oh, okay, nice.
And the United States recently had it, so for the first time, the ITU is headed by an American.
Okay.
So that was actually a big goal of the embassy and policy of trying to get other countries to support our candidate for the ITU. So for the first time, it's headed up by, it's an American and happens to be a woman this time.
Oh, nice. Shout out, girl power.
Yay.
Samantha loves that.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Let's look at cybersecurity. I think a lot of the times this is a word that a lot of us hear, but we aren't quite sure why it's important. Why is cybersecurity an important thing?
I mean, when was the last time you went a day without going online?
Jesus, powerful
when was
question.
the last time you went an hour without going online, right? We're all online all the time,
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
And so it's useful to think of it in terms of attack surface, right? So the more presence you have online, those are the more ways that people can try to compromise the different accounts that you have. So the more you're out there, the more people can try to come back at you and compromise you. So cybersecurity, David, very important, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And, I think nowadays it's so important that we also have these conversations with our little ones because, little ones are accessing devices so early in their development that, it's important that parents understand, let me call it best practices, right? Best practices in terms of how to deal your relationship with your device, the information that you put on your device. Let me tell you a true story. I had in my past life, right? I had some friends who, they were not upstanding citizens, right? And a friend of mine, she left her credit card details and things on a mobile device. And this gentleman happened to go through a mobile device, and boom. And was, cash in, and people take that for granted. Things like, I was at the bank the other day and they were saying, Chief, this thing of using your keychain on your phone and keeping all your passwords, at least your banking ones, keep up top. Keep up top and on the top of your dome. Look, let's go straight into it. What are some of the most common online scams, especially in Gaborone, Botswana, or in the Republic of Botswana, that are very common? I'm also going to ask David this question because he's also very familiar with those.
Right, he's probably more familiar than I am with those. I know from our perspective, the big focus at the agency that runs embassies overseas is called the Department of State. It would be what you call the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Nice.
So in the department, we're very concerned. The big threat is phishing. So it's an email that you get that looks like it's from somebody you know. It looks like it's from someone you trust. But when you actually hover over it, you see it's, the name has been spoofed. Yes. And so it's trying to get you to click on a web page that looks like a legitimate web page. It might try to impersonate your bank and then trick you into giving your password. And these are really common. And we get hit with them a lot. And why do we get hit with them a lot? Because they work. Because people don't always take the time to verify and look like, was I expecting a document from this person? Was I expecting this? Do I think, I logged into my bank account last night. Now they're telling me something's wrong? No. So we've had some success. We actually will do little tests and try to catch people and see if they'll click on the link or if they'll take the correct action. And then if they do, we sort of educate them and go, hey, you did the right thing. Or if they didn't, we say, hey, by the way, this was a test. It could have been a phishing. It wasn't. So
please, can we do a test on Gabs FM stuff like in 4 weeks or something?
So
right?
you want to see if they'll actually
in 4 weeks
the link.
Because they're probably listening to us, but in a month, and then we do an exercise internally and share something and see, who will fall for it. I think that would be pretty cool. In all honesty, sometimes that's how you learn, that's how you learn in terms of being very conscious of it when you're on your device,
Yeah.
Painful lesson even. Alan, you're just telling us about some online scams. What about pyramid schemes? Because this is
Cling, cling.
this is a big deal. I think a lot of people are always looking for a way to make money quickly. And pyramid schemes come to play. What are some of the online pyramid schemes that you are aware of, and what advice would you give us in order to mitigate that?
Well, so I've heard about, because I was asked to appear on the program, what is it, Echoplexus? Is that the one?
Yes, that's the latest one.
Getting victims here in Botswana.
And I know there's another one, David will confirm, but I know there's another one called Berry. It's like in the crypto space and things like that. Apparently it locked a whole bunch of Botswana's money into the system. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think you just fall back on something your mother told you, right? Which is, if it sounds too good to be true, if somebody is sending you something and said, oh, you can make all this money, you only have to give a little bit of money, you're going to make all this money, you're going to get all your friends rich. I mean, it sounds good, but it never if it sounds, that's the best advice you can give is, if it sounds too good to be true, it almost has to be. And do some checking before you just go, wow, this sounds great, I'm going to click and give my details and give some money. I mean, if you think it might be legitimate, do some research. Go type in and search. And in the United States, we at least have consumer protection websites. We have something called the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
And if you get the name of a company, you can type it in and search for it, and they'll tell you, do they think it's a reputable company or
Nice.
not? Maybe David can answer if there's something similar here, like a resource that people in Botswana could use to verify if a company is legit. But in this case, I think Echoplex is a legitimate company. People just used it to swindle other people, unfortunately.
Well, it's Gabs FM Power to Engage your world. 3956962. Have you ever been fraudulently swindled online? Call in on the show, share your experience, and of course, allow me to cross over into our partner spotlight with the founder of Cybercrime BW, otherwise known as Red David Mwepeng. Brayaka, welcome to the show.
Swift.
Shapuze.
I'm good, man. How you doing? Good morning, Sam.
Good afternoon.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon to Gabs FM listeners all over Botswana.
Grootman, let's talk about, some of the things that you've been seeing. I mean, you daily, I'm sure you're working all the time. There's the crypto space. The crypto space has recently fallen into Botswana's homes. A lot of Botswana trying to make money through crypto. It's an online-based system, and you find a number of fraudulent behavior. Walk us through.
All right, and that's what we're seeing. Our observation has been as we are increasingly becoming digitalized as a society, but on exploring, the various platforms and the solutions that are available in the digital space, looking for opportunities to make a little bit of money, in advance financially. Criminals are taking advantage of that as well, and going for those that are vulnerable. There are a lot of financial scams that are taking place in Botswana. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in Ramotswa as part of build-up activities for the commemoration of World Telecommunication and Information Society Day.
Yes.
We're running workshops for pensioners there, and it was sad to see, elderly, women and men coming out to say, I lost 138,000 pula, I lost 400,000, I lost 20,000 pula. So there are a lot of phishing scams that are taking place here, mostly what we call smishing scams. Those are scams that are done through SMSs. Yes, through SMS.
Okay.
Yeah, smishing.
Give us a scenario in terms of smishing.
How about a year ago and now there are a lot of scams where you get an SMS from someone saying that they've sent you money by mistake, mobile money scams, or maybe you have a mobile money account and they tell you that they are trying to update your KYC and things like that. There are a lot of what we call KYC scams as well, with the know your customer system that is ongoing right now with financial institutions required to constantly make sure that they have updated details on their customers. People are taking advantage of that and calling, members of society, claiming to be calling from the bank or from whatever institution, and they're trying to update their account details when they're not, and a lot of elderly people in Botswana have been scammed.
Yeah.
Because of that, there's a lady in Molepolole just earlier this year lost about 400,000 pula. So these things are real. They're happening every day. A lot of them don't come out because by the time people realize that they have been scammed, it's something that is really embarrassing and humiliating. And whenever we're on radio or television, which we do a lot, we get people calling us to say, guys, how can you help me? This is what I'm going through. So there are a lot of, and because of, the fact that, with technology, sometimes it's difficult for people to verify certain things, yet it is easy at the same time. Also because I think, we do not have an online safety culture yet. Hence, what we do as Cyber Smart Botswana on a regular basis is really to try and sensitize Botswana about some of these online safety threats, and also educate them about safe online behaviors. Do not trust, we don't trust people on the streets. If you were to meet me on the street right now, Bona, give me $100, double in $200, I'll tell you, never. But online, we see people doing that. Right?
Hey, man,
so those are common right now.
I think it's so sad that there's a lot of victims are ashamed to say that they've been scammed. At the end of the day, you're a victim, but you're afraid like you would say this scam.
Yeah, because it's usually low and you beat yourself and say what was I thinking? You understand? It's not easy, but what we're doing is we're encouraging people to come out and share their stories so that they can help others.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Bitcoin scams as well. So people are using social media to, the scammers are using social media to trick people into, their traps. I think it was last year. We had, these guys just invaded a whole taxi association. You know how it starts with one guy, who will then share with others.
With other guys,
you want to make money?
Amazing opportunity.
You understand? About 4 or 5 guys who lost, most of them lost about 30,000 pula each.
That's a lot of money. Well, it's Gabs FM Power to engage your world. On the other side of this, we're going to talk. You know what I would love to know, including I like what he said, cyber culture of safety. Whether we like it or not, even 2024 is around the corner. I was looking at something on artificial intelligence where they were having a discussion now about AI sort of replicating a politician's voice.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a politician's voice and saying something inappropriate, including. So those are now a new development, or let me say a new innovation in the cyber space. You know what I'm saying? Did you see that article on the Pentagon where there was an image of a fake AI image of the Pentagon being blown up?
Yep.
And it trended on social media when it was not true. So please, this is an important conversation. Do not change that dial. It's Gabs FM Power to engage your world. It's a Friday. This one is Casper Nyove's Friday night. I think Casper did very well on this number, personal. Yeah, I think I can Anyway, moving swiftly along, pun intended. Welcome back to the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM. And remember, the objective of this show is to highlight the bilateral relationship between the U.S. government and the BW government. And Brother David, before you are talking about human behavior in cyberspace, which is a complex and constantly evolving situation, right? As more and more of our interactions take place online, our behavior in the cyberspace is becoming increasingly important to our social, economic, and political lives. Walk through us and give us like sort of a background on the best practices. How should Botswana carry themselves in that space?
Yes, cybersecurity experts will tell you that the weakest link in cybersecurity is the human factor. It's me and you, the users, the end users. But also, the strongest link is also, the end user, because increasingly we are seeing technology companies coming up with all types of solutions, right? Today we talk about from passwords to two-factor authentication, multiple layers of security, so many things that you can do to protect your networks, to protect your data, to protect your devices. In most cases, you find that's why we see a lot of phishing scams. You see scammers coming up with tricks to manipulate their targets. Why? Because they are unable to penetrate certain networks and devices without going through the end users. So they will trick you into doing something that will then give them access to your device, to your network, to your data, right? They will send you a link, right? That is infected with malware. You click on that link, it's coming from a stranger, you don't know. You click on it, it takes you to a website that is not secure, and that website has malware in it, and then that malware will then start, stealing your data, from your device, and then they can then access all your other accounts, right? So that's basically what we're talking about when we're saying manipulation of the end user. And that's why we are saying it is very important that there's education, there's cybersecurity awareness, so people know about these tricks that scammers use, these tricks that hackers use to penetrate their networks and their systems, right? So what we focus on really is to do public education so that people are informed at all times. It's like road safety education. When we were growing up, I think the 7th of December every year, there's like a big commemoration of what is it called again? Road Safety Day, right?
Yeah.
At primary school, will be taken for activities where you would rehearse, what you do before you cross the road, look to the left, to the right, to the left again, all those things. And that's what we need to do when it comes to the way we conduct ourselves online. People need to realize that the systems are there to protect the devices and the networks. Most of the time, it is us, the way we conduct ourselves. It is you as a user who's going to click on a link in order to take you to a website that you are not supposed to go to. It is you as the end user who's going to use a weak password. It is you as an end user who's going to respond to a phishing email, to a phishing text. Bitcoin scammers, Tata, you know what they do, right? They will steal profiles of, beautiful ladies, sometimes handsome guys, right?
Yes.
And then they will target, guys, and, they'll send you a text, and then invite you to invest into this thing, and we've seen a lot of people losing their money to these types of scams. And yet, somebody comes to you, you don't know them. I can't trust you.
Yeah.
Where you come from, your home village, I shouldn't trust you, right? But what's going on online is we just trust anybody and
Hold
everybody.
that thought, my brother. Let me take this call. Gabs FM, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Shift, and how are you doing? The former station manager of a social radio station. The former station manager, the former veteran journalist.
A former station manager.
Yeah.
Of those other guys, right?
The guy from Leshakane.
Yes, from Zoa Strait.
The friendship, the Facebook friend request.
Era.
The Facebook friend request. And I keep asking myself, how can you trust the initiatives which has not been authorized by the relevant authorities in the government of the countries? How can you trust them?
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I think what he was saying
Did you
is that
understand?
it's more of a comment to say, Le Botswana should not trust, Facebook messaging and on behalf of organizations and governments.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Earlier you were talking about AI, right?
Yeah.
Right now, the world is on a frenzy, right? It's in a frenzy, right?
Yeah.
Over AI, right?
Yeah. AI is the
Guess
truth.
what?
Yeah.
Scammers are already using AI.
Of course. Of course.
Scammers are already using AI. Before we even get to understand crypto scams, we now have to deal with AI scams.
Jesus. I'd love to see an AI scan because I'm a big fan of AI. I won't lie. I use ChatGPT. I use all of those apps. So I would love to see, just to understand an AI scan.
How are they using it? Give us a scenario.
There's actually an article I was reading the other day about a guy who scammed his own employer.
Jesus.
Right? Using AI. Right? Because with AI you can create anything and everything.
Yeah.
Invoices, you can just they look so legitimate. So these things are happening on a daily basis. And as we get excited about technology, about the ability to be able to do all these types of things, let's also think about our security. Let's think about our safety. Because these guys are always not even a step behind, Whenever there's a new technology, they're there with the evolution, right? So, which is why it's very important that people are educated. You did mention that Komala paying, we buy our kids tablets, they go online, sometimes, in their own bedrooms, and little as parents, we're busy on our own devices. There's very little monitoring that is going on. And you can imagine there's games that kids now play, like Roblox, for instance, right? They play with other kids. So social gaming, they play with other kids, and you don't know who these kids are, where they are. There are elderly people, like predators, for instance, who use these platforms, pretend to be keys when they are not keys, so as to trick these kids into revealing, information. I can say, hey, where's mommy? Mommy's not home, is at work. Where does she work? The kids will innocently reveal this information without knowing. So it's very important to also teach our children they can't reveal private information to strangers. Whenever there's anything, they should always report to mommy or daddy. So all these things. So even at a at a kids level, it's very important that the awareness and the education is on point at all times.
Well, it's Gabs FM Power to engage your world. And if you've just joined us, welcome to the Stars and Stripes radio show. And we're talking World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. Let me ask you this, Remweping. Businesses, what recommendation would you have for business organizations, especially like you rightfully said, we're living in a global village, I have had a situation where I walked into a bank and I opened up my laptop to do some work. And, Botswana were not conscious that, that could be me doing cybercrime, What would be your advantage, or from your vantage point, seeing the direction we're going as a society to the business community?
Yeah, that's a good question. What we're trying to do is to make businesses realize that cybersecurity is not just an issue for the IT guys, right? Or IT professionals. Because as workplaces are increasingly becoming digitalized, we're all using devices, we're all accessing the network, from the guy at the door, from the lady old cleaning, they're accessing the company network using their mobile phone. So it's no longer just, the guys that are in IT that have to be worried about cybersecurity. So everybody must be trained. And as Cyber Smart Botswana, we are about to launch 2 courses on basic cybersecurity for non-IT professionals.
Okay.
And the other one is advanced cybersecurity for non-IT professionals. And these are targeting every professional, all professions, from security, from the guy who takes care of the garden, as long as that guy, the company allows that guy to access the company network, or to send an email, or to do whatever it is that has to do with technology. Everybody must be trained. It's no longer just about the IT guy. So my advice to companies is to make sure that just as we, a couple of years ago, wellness, every Friday morning you go to offices, people are busy, doing aerobics and stuff like that, because we are trying to promote, healthy lifestyles
living,
and wellness, right? The same way we are doing that, we need to start looking at online safety and cybersecurity, making sure that every employee, because it can take just that one person, that one careless employee to expose the entire company to ransomware, to malware attacks and all those things. So that's the main advice really that I can give to companies.
Well, it's Gabs FM Power to engage your world. Let me give you this opportunity to share your parting statement. In closing, what would you say to the nation in line with cybercrime? What would you say to parents? What would you say to politicians in line with the new wave of artificial intelligence? What would you say to all of us in line with cybercrime?
Cybercrime is real. Don't wait until you are hit. Most of the time we are reactionary.
Prevention is better than cure.
Prevention is better than cure. Yeah, because all of us here, if I go onto your device, there's certain things that you are not doing because to you it's just, it's just news. It's just noise, until it happens to you.
Yeah.
So many people will tell you that I never thought it would happen to me until it did. Because to me it was just, I was reading about it, I was hearing about it.
It was something far away.
It was something far away. It's like COVID, when COVID started, right? The first month we thought, it was China. We thought, no, it was China, right? And then the day it hit, that's when we were like, wow, this is real. So the same way that happens, please make sure that you are protected at all times. Put in preventative measures in your organizations, in your device, in your household. Make sure that as parents, we talk to our children about online safety. Let's not just, it's happening a lot where parents, because we don't know where to start, right? True. But the most important thing is let's make sure that we have these conversations in our workplaces, in our households, to make sure that everybody is safe, because it can take just that one person or is not informed, or maybe is careless in their usage of technology to expose everybody.
Well, it's Gabs FM Power to Engage You. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to educate us. And, I think it's important to give you your flowers now to say, well done for the work that Cyber Smart Botswana is doing in line with educating Botswana, in line. I love the fact that your demographic is quite wide, from Baholo to rural Botswana to urban Botswana. Well done on that. I think it is very, very important that, we get cyber smart.
Absolutely. And it's not just about urban people anymore, even those that are in rural areas. We are one of the leading countries in terms of connectivity and access. And you know what that means. The more people are connected, the more vulnerable they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's Gabs FM Power to Engage You.
It's the midday fix, reloaded. You the best. Midday radio at its best. Best I ever had. The midday fix, reloaded. Let's go.
Well, welcome back to the show, and we got a popular voice back in the studio. She goes by the name Samantha Moore.
I honestly thought you were gonna say Ms. Tau.
I was ready to say hello, everybody.
Popular part one. She's no longer, popularity goes with relevance. She's no longer relevant.
Wait, are you trying to say my girl is not relevant?
Ask
him what he's saying. He needs to tread very lightly.
Is it girl power?
Yes, it is.
Season 2. Welcome to the show, Wabile Tau, from Emergent Voices, coordinator at the U.S. Embassy. How are you, my friend?
I'm
and welcome
doing
to the show.
I'm good.
Look, the next segment is called Chasing the Dream, and of course, it's one of our favorite. It's very important because this is where you get to hear all about educational opportunities that the U.S. Embassy offers through its Education USA office for prospective students, academics, and of course professionals. What you got for us today?
Today, I just want to talk about the scam because that's the topic of today. So I really want to, just tell Botswana, please make sure when you're applying. I know all of us, we want to go to school.
Yes.
And the US is a place to go, right?
Yes.
But please make sure that wherever you're going to, your school is accredited and double check. And so today I just want to share with you a resource that you can actually, you can search for accreditation and use at your own house, and you can do it yourself. And so we have what we call the Council for Higher Education Accreditation database. This is the chair.org. So it's CHEA.org.
Okay.
If you go online and you just log on to this database, you are able to check if whatever institutions are telling you is accredited.
Okay.
There are red flags to watch out for. If a school tells you, number one, they're going to pay for your visa, red flag.
Red flag?
It is.
Hey,
The visa cleared. Yeah.
Savings in ya.
Because at the end of the day, nobody can apply for your visa except you.
True.
So that should be a red flag at the onset.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying that they cannot assist you, or maybe they can explain the process to you, but wherever you hear that, pay something so that we can send you your document afterwards, no. If at all, you ought to be paying to secure a place. But before you even get to the paying, go to cheer.org, CHEA.org, and verify, because the one phone call I dread receiving in my office is somebody saying, I've been in school for 4 years, and now I'm calling the school for my certification, and nobody's responding.
I was actually gonna ask you, Jorge, is there a specific story that is close to your heart? Are you able to share?
There are so many of them, but I will tell you this. The people that do come to our office, the calls that I've received has been from people who have been working for so many years. And rehelo motona kana melo motona na khenga rngwana ka sale ke tsena skolo kana ne ke dira PhD online and gati ke tsisa accreditation the US Embassy accredit. We're like, we don't accredit.
Yeah.
We're not accrediting body. Go back to the school, and they tell you nobody's responding. And you log on and you get into the cheer.org database and the school is not listed. That is money lost for this individual. They cannot get back. They've spent all these years and all their resources, and now they have a product that is not even quality.
It's not viable. It's not viable.
I know. So please, I really don't like those phone calls. May I not get them?
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. Look, let me give you this opportunity to share your parting statements. What would you say to Botswana in line with cybercrime?
You know what? I always say that be careful when you're going out there. We're hearing lots and lots of stories, but at the same time, I know we're talking about the crime. Sometimes it's the information that you put in that's gonna get you into even more trouble. If it doesn't need, can we just respect privacy? There are certain things that you cannot share. Please do not share that. Convenience sometimes comes with a lot of danger. If at all you get that nudge in your stomach that says what is going on, that should be a signal.
I like that.
Call us.
Trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut, please.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world, and that's how we come to the end of the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM. Remember, the objective of this is to share the bilateral relationship between the BW government and the U.S. government in line with cyber crime. Well done to both governments. Let me tell you something. Also like, share, and interact with the U.S. Embassy on all social media pages. You can also visit them at www.bwus
I'm not going to tell you this one.
.com.
Huh? Say it again.
.org.
Not org.
No, it's .com.
Org?
Hey, say it again.
www.bwusembassy.gov. Ampur.
What a hampur. How long have we been friends? I'm doubting our friendship now.
Can I let you $1 more per thing?
The Stars and Stripes show was brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.